Now, Paris's iconic Arc de Triomphe was lit up in pink hues on Sunday night to mark the start of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. With 60,000 new cases each year here in France, it remains the most common cancer that women develop and affect over 2 million women globally every year. To discuss, Julia Seeger from our science desk is with me now. Hi, Julia. And so Pink October, as it's dubbed, was launched with quite a bit of fanfare here in Paris and elsewhere around the world. And the images were quite something, weren't they?
Indeed, Nadia. Many of you may have seen these pictures on social media networks where women dressed in pink were literally dancing throughout the French capital. And it was very heartwarming to see this because I think it's really going to help many women who are suffering from breast cancer to really talk more freely about their illness and not feel stigmatized. Now, that said, unfortunately, breast cancer statistics are still very chilling. 2.3 million women are affected, as you said, and 685,000 actually die every year. In France, it's 1 in 8 women that is set to face breast cancer throughout their lifetime. So it can seem like staggering numbers. At the same time, it could also reflect the fact that we have better screening methods and mechanisms. Now, breast cancer actually started, it was seen as a Western problem because of our modern ways of life. But as you can see here on this map, almost every country in the world now battles this disease. And it is still the most common and the leading cause of cancer-related deaths in women worldwide. So it's a huge problem. That said, if you actually diagnose it very early on, it's considered that you can be cured from it in 9 cases out of 10, which is huge. And the reason also why is because we have more therapies available. Now, of course, the cutting-edge therapies are not available everywhere in the world, but now you have surgery, radiotherapy, chemotherapy. You also have these targeted therapies like monoclonal antibodies, and you have immunotherapies. And you may have heard about female hormonal therapies. So what is that? Well, what happens is that in certain cancerous cells, in breast cancerous cells, they're going to be sensitive to hormones, the natural hormones that women's body produce, such as estrogen and progesterone. Well, that can actually have a stimulating effect on cancerous cell growth. And what hormonal therapy will do is that it's going to stop this stimulating action.
And Julia, doctors at the moment are trying to understand why some women are more at risk than others, and they're using new technologies to help them do that.
That's right. They're trying to understand the triggering effects. And of course, the triggering effects that we know of are age, lifestyle, but also family history and genetic predispositions. And with AI, what we're trying to do here is even to try to predict the cancer before the offset of the first symptoms. So how does it work? Well, we have a variety of what we call diagnostic AI tools. So these AI tools are going to scan mammograms looking for what we call suspicious lesions, lesions that could become cancerous within the next 2 years. And what Danish and Dutch researchers had the idea of doing recently is to combine these AI diagnostic tools with AI texture tools. So here these AIs are going to scan the mammograms looking at the texture of the breast, because we know that this is a long-term risk. Dense breast tissues is associated with a higher risk of developing breast cancer. And so they put together those 2 AI models and they tested it on a cohort of 119,000 women, and they were able to predict the cancers in 36% of the cases. So it was actually a very good statistic there.
Well, that's remarkable, really interesting, Julia. Another way to improve early detection is to look at something called epigenetics. Just tell us what that is.
We're going to go back to, our basic high school biology courses here, but you know that in each cell it's contained inside the entire genetic heritage, 46 chromosomes from your parents, but also 26,000 genes. That's genetics, the study of genes. Epigenetics is another layer of information that is going to explain why certain genes are expressed within the cell and others aren't. And this is actually mind-boggling because, it actually goes and it refutes the old theory that we thought that our genes were set in stone, but they actually change. And that's what epigenetics is telling us. What it's telling us is that our environmental factors like smoking, stress, but also childhood experiences can change whether or not a gene is expressed within your cell or not. And that's going to have an impact on whether or not you're going to develop perhaps breast cancer and how you're going to answer to the therapeutic protocol that you have. And this is going to be interesting because we're trying to battle the triple negative type of breast cancer, for instance, which is a very aggressive cancer that affects young women specifically and for which very few therapeutic protocols actually work. So this is a very new era of therapeutics that is opening.
Julia Seeger talking to us at the start of Pink October. Thank you very much.
Thank you.